Welcome, I'm the Deadwood Jedi, and we're doing another Raid Shadow Legends video. I'm in my account here, and we are doing another one of these Santa Unkillable teams. This one's going to be Santa and Taurus. Santa and Taurus, Unkillable team, Unkillable Santa and Taurus, however you want to say it. But that's what we're going to be doing today. We're replacing Skullcrusher with Taurus. This is going to be great for the Blue Affinity Clan boss. Obviously, it could be great for Red Affinity Clan boss as well. And Taurus does a lot of really cool things. Brings in a lot of stuff that we could really use for our team. Brings in not only the Unkillable ability, but poisons, as well as a weaken debuff, which really opens up the variety of champions we can use as DPS next to Taurus as well. We don't have to have a Thane necessarily. We could bring in, say, a Saito, someone that does a decreased defense debuff ability alone. That might be a really good option. You could bring in Aina or even a Sawai, Firstborn. Those would be good options as well. Lots of ways you can do it with the DPS, but because Taurus has more stuff in their kit, it really opens up the variety of things that we can do offensively with this team. Now, obviously, Taurus does not work against green spirit affinity. That's what I've always tried first. Just doesn't happen. Won't take the stun. Really almost no matter what the healing is. So not going to be useful there, but still very useful for pretty much everything else, which is great. Really good against Void. Obviously red and blue affinity, he's going to be a wonderful stun champion for it. Now, if you're going against blue affinity, do recommend don't bring any green affinity champions in here. That can throw off the stun targeting. That's going to be important. And Taurus is really unique in their kit. And the way it works, so being able to time it out with Painkeeper, you do need the heal to happen at an appropriate time, is going to be really important. That said, we can go ahead and look at Taurus the champion. One of the things I want to point out is Taurus' skill kit. His A3 ability puts up an Unkillable, but also takes his health down to 1 HP. That's why we need Painkeeper to heal. And this is where we bring in some of the concepts from the budget Maneater team and apply them here. Taurus needs to get back enough HP to be able to take that stun. So he needs to have at least 15% HP on him in order to be able to be an active target that the clan boss can stun. If he doesn't get any healing, he won't get stunned. The clan boss is going to recognize, oh, that's unkillable and not attack. So that's really important for you guys to recognize that part of it. It also means that preferably everybody else is going to be able to heal more than that as well. Having Life Drinker on the rest of your champions, even Lifesteal gear, and making sure that their HP level is lower than Taurus's, should do the trick. Now with a champion like Santa, he has so much HP, he's already going to be healing himself with the Life Drinker. Don't necessarily have to worry about that as much, but the stun starts going wonky. Look at the budget Maneater team, and that's going to be a way for you guys to adjust with that. That said, let's go ahead. Let me show you guys Taurus, how we have him kitted out. The rest of the champions are exactly the same as yesterday's Santa Unkillable team on auto. So let's go ahead and look at Taurus. I'll show you that, and then we'll go into the run. We'll talk after. Okay, guys, so we're going to be bringing in Taurus. You can see I don't even have his stuff all maxed out here. This is really very proof of concept, kind of show you the kind of damage we could be doing. So we're going to bring Taurus in for Skullcrusher, and I think that's really going to be a big advantage for us here and running this kind of composition. So this is the Void version of this team. It's less tricky to set up than the other versions. But we do have to manual just a little bit. Basically, we want to make sure that Painkeeper is going to use her A2 ability on auto, which she doesn't always do. If you don't have people that are taking damage, she won't actually use it, so that's important. The setup is the same as we would against Affinity. A1 with Painkeeper, whatever with Taurus. We just want to make sure that we save that A3 ability, the Unkillable ability. Doom Priest is going to go ahead and use her skills. Same thing with Fane. We don't need to really pay too much attention to that. There goes Sir Nick with the shield. That's got to come first. And then we get the combat tactics there. And there goes Taurus with the Toxic Nova. And as that hits down, everybody else is going to go again. This is the one time where Painkeeper goes ahead of Taurus. After this, Taurus should go first, and it'll be a lot easier. Actually, every time from here on out. So that gives the heal up to make sure that Taurus has enough HP to actually get targeted. There goes Santa with the A1 ability. There goes Taurus. And there goes the stun, just like we wanted to. And Doom Priest is going to go ahead and cleanse that out. Now, I would love to be able to click auto here, but we have so much healing in this composition. I'm a little nervous that Painkeeper won't use her A2 ability. That's something, if you guys actually run this comp, you're going to be able to test out on your own. I usually do most testing, but this is like the 5th or 6th time I've tried to run this and get it down perfect. And so I'm a little tired of doing that, quite frankly. I think you guys can be able to figure that out if this is something you want to run, because you can always manual it if not. There goes combat tactics right there. Here goes that A3 with Feign. Get that shield down. And there comes the hit in. And after this turn 2, Painkeeper will be unkillable from here on out. We're going to go ahead and use the Toxic Nova there from Taurus. And like I said, Painkeeper is going to go right after with that A2 to heal up a little bit. And here we're using concepts from the budget Unkillable, where Taurus has enough HP where the clan boss doesn't recognize him as unkillable, but way less than everybody else, and so becomes the preferred target. At this point, I think we could hit auto, but I just want to get through here. I want to show you guys really quickly that Painkeeper will be unkillable from this point going forward. There goes Feign. Here goes Painkeeper to A1, and then there goes the unkillable ability from Sir Nick, and you can see we are unkillable from this point on. The only issue, like I said, is going to be making sure that Painkeeper uses that A2 ability, which is a little bit dicey because the clan boss isn't hitting quite hard enough yet, and we have so much healing in this composition that everybody's pretty close to full up by the time our turn comes around. So you can see right there, we're not taking any damage really. The next cycle we will, so that's usually when we would go ahead and do it. There goes that Toxic Nova. Here comes that A2 ability, and I think at this point we can click auto, and we should be in good shape. And the way this composition works, as opposed to the Skullcrusher one, Skullcrusher guides the stun, A, by being weak affinity, but also by putting counterattack on all the other champions. And so, because of that, the clan boss doesn't want to attack somebody with counterattack up, so they prefer to strike at Skullcrusher. Well, in this composition, we're using the HP difference in our champions to really target the stun, because Taurus takes his HP down to 0, and then because Painkeeper is going to heal with that A2 skill, there's going to be enough HP left on Taurus to be a target for the clan boss, and everybody else is going to have more HP, and as a result, Taurus is going to be the one taking the stun. Now, I didn't have to balance it crazy like I did do in the budget Maneater compositions. We don't have to make sure everybody else has less HP than Taurus, or that, you know, Painkeeper has a certain amount of defense or anything like that. Because it's Void, because everybody's pretty much on an equal playing field, if they all had full HP, Taurus would take the stun just by being in the lead position. Because the only healing is coming from Painkeeper, whereas all the rest of my champions have Life Drinker on, and they all have good crit rate, they're going to heal up enough where I don't have to really worry about it. The ones I really want to concern myself with are pretty much Painkeeper and Taurus. My Feign has very little HP. My Doom Priest has not a whole ton of it, plus she's giving a little bit of heal to everybody. And Sir Nick hits really, really hard, even though he has an abundant amount of HP. And because of that, because we're relying on that heal, Taurus will take the stun pretty much every time. Those are the runs, guys. I mean, I think that's pretty clear that this is a very effective team, can do a lot of damage. Really great against Void. Blue Affinity, obviously, and Red Affinity is going to be very good too. Now, one of the things I do want to make sure that you guys recognize is the only reason why the stun's going to Taurus is because of the HP difference. So you really do need to apply that budget man-eater concept to this build in order to ensure that Taurus takes the stun. So that's really important. The other thing that we want to keep in mind is that we do need Doom Priest to cleanse the stun. Now, the reason why, because Painkeeper is cooling everything down, right? Making 4-turn cooldowns actually 3-turn cooldowns. It's the same concept as I'm going to be using as I use with Santa. So Sir Nick is using that that shield ability right after the cooldown gets reduced. The reason why, it's a 3-turn cooldown. So if it happens at any other spot, it's going to be jumping around and moving to different times. If by having it right after the cooldown, that means that it's going to be ready to go again right after the cooldown, and so it'll be a regular spot every turn. Well, the same thing applies to our cleanser. If our cleanser tries to use the cleanse at any point other than that, it's going to start jumping around and it's not going to be regular. Well, the thing is with Taurus, we need to cleanse the stun on him. Yes, it's a 4-turn cooldown, and yes, Painkeeper reduces it, so he uses it every 3 turns, the Unkillable ability. But if he takes a stun, that's going to extend the cooldown 1 more, and then he's not going to be unkillable when we need him to be. So in order for that to happen, we have to cleanse the stun. And the only way to do that is to have the stun cleanse happen 2 turns after the cooldown reduction. It can be problematic. I do want to point out 2 champions you can use instead of Doom Priest. Doom Priest obviously is great for cleansing the stun, but because we really need to focus on the stun, not necessarily the other debuffs, especially when we're against Void Affinity, I want to show you 2 options that you have in addition to that. So the first option is going to be one of my favorites, as always, Steel Skull. And the reason why is Steel Skull, at the same speed as Doom Priest, has this protection ability. It's an AoE heal and increased defense buff. Well, that's what's prioritized from Steel Skull. That means that if you have Steel Skull use this immediately after the cooldown from Painkeeper, then the next skill they'll use is this cleansing spell. Because Taurus goes so low on HP, even from auto, this should work. Now, he won't cleanse Taurus if he has more than 50% HP, but after a certain amount of time, that's never going to be the case. So this will work every time, which will remove the debuffs and heal him up. And so Steel Skull is a great option, secondary option to bring in instead of a Doom Priest, primarily because he'll have a small chance to put these poisons on 1 attack. A preferred choice, actually, I think, which would be even better, which is a kind of a unique option here, is going to be Gurp Tuck. Now, Gurp Tuck also has a cleanse, but prioritizes this ability, the Cloud Spores, where he puts poison on your allies, and then as a result, they do more damage. This is Gurp Tuck's preferred choice. So after the cooldown reduction, even if everybody's at 0 health, Gurp Tuck's going to use this skill, which means that the next one to cleanse the stun is Druidic Boon right here, which will heal everybody up. That's a huge factor there. It means even you can have Gurp Tuck fully booked and will still prioritize the Cloud Spores over Druidic Boon, which means the cleanse can happen for the stun. So this is a really good option for you. In addition to that, he gives another continuous heal on your allies, which means they're more likely to get their counterattack from the defensive masteries, and also less likely to, because it'll kind of extend into that stun turn right before it, it means the rest of your allies are going to actually have more HP, so it's more likely the stun is focused on your Taurus, which is really helpful. So those are 2 things I would definitely highly recommend taking a look at. Gurp Tuck or Steel Skull might be a great option outside of Doom Priest when you're not doing Spirit Affinity. Now, the reason why you can't use a champion like Battle Khazar is this cleanse is their prioritized skill. And because of that, that's going to be the first skill they use. And so after the cooldown reduction, it's always going to end up being the cleanse ability. And that means when the stun happens, you won't be able to cleanse them. So you cannot use Battle Khazar. You just got to be careful. Whoever's doing the cleanse, it can't be their prioritized skill. It has to be their second skill. So that's a little tricky. Gurp Tuck's a great option. Steel Skull's a great option. And as always, Doom Priest is a great option. That's going to do it for this video, guys. Tomorrow we're going to bring in Taurus again, and I'm going to show you how to use them without a cleanser. I think that's going to be pretty interesting, and I think that's going to be the way to maximize the damage out of this composition. Speed requirements are a little higher, so maybe not everybody can get there, but if you can, it's going to be really, really helpful. As always, check out the speed tunes on my website. That's where they are if you want to know the ranges and how to make this go and how to go about this. Such a thrill, guys, to do this for you. Please take the time, subscribe if you love this kind of content, and I'm trying to do it. Hit the subscription, like the video, hit the notification bell so you know when my next one of these type of videos comes out. Means a lot for me, easy for you. Great mix, I think, for both of us. That said, guys, till next we meet, I'm the Deadwood Jedi.